discernment ministries are labeled as extremist or haters.
Hey haters, I hate to break this to you, but your day is done. See, we're done with the way you sling shame and blame in the face of anyone who doesn't say what you say and see what you see, read what you read, think what you think, and do what you do, how you do what you do. But it's not about you. We're sick and tired of your pervasive propensity to pick a fight and hide the light, nitpicking every single pixel of God's brilliant picture, seeing only your side in only black and white. So scared to death of difference, shaking your fist in the face of change. I hear you hating on some people because they're not deep enough, but it makes me wonder if depth is more a measure of love than it is about whether people sync up with every idiosyncratic opinion you've got. You're full of opinions, but you're low on the Spirit, because the Spirit is love. The Spirit is peace. The Spirit is kindness, and the only kind of words you ever seem to speak bring death to the hearer and leave weakness in their wake. You look like a toddler, drawing lines in the sand, talking about how you're defending the truth and taking a stand. But for all your hating and pontificating and stances and games, there's no change. Fall back. It's a new day. Because we're not looking for approval from you, who give no respect and never neglect the chance to complain. Are you going to criticize or create? Waste your time casting stones, breaking bones, belittling everyone you consider opposed? Or are you going to exchange your hate, trade the pain of the same, embrace a new way to change the world? Honor's time has come, and a new light has dawned to still the tongue of the cynic and pierce the heart of the skeptic. This generation is waiting to restore the hope of a nation.
The standard rhetoric coming from these churches is that they teach the same message as traditional evangelicals, but only differ in methodology and philosophy of ministry. The methods change, but the message stays the same, is the cliché. For instance, Lee Strobel, former pastor at Willow Creek, now with Saddleback, writes, "Objections generally relate to the method that's used to communicate the gospel, not the message itself. And consequently, we're free to use our God-given creativity to present Christ's message in new ways that our target audience will connect with. But this is simply not the case. While the methodology may be disturbing, it is the message of the church growth movement that is of greater concern. The church growth movement is often found to be anti-doctrinal, not enduring sound doctrine and actually discouraging Bible study and sound doctrine. Both Rick Warren and C. Peter Wagner discourage the study of Bible prophecy.
He states that Bible prophecy is a diversion from the devil. Now, you don't want to study Bible prophecy, even though a third of the Bible is prophecy.
Interpreting Acts chapter 1 verses 6 through 8, Warren says, "When the disciples wanted to talk about prophecy, Jesus quickly switched the conversation to evangelism. He wanted them to concentrate on their mission in the world. He said, in essence, the details of my return are none of your business. What is your business is the mission I have given you. Focus on that. If you want Jesus to come back sooner, focus on fulfilling your mission, not figuring out prophecy." Wagner quotes Robert Schuller and says, "Robert Schuller's advice to young church leaders would seem to apply to new apostolic Christians. Don't let eschatology stifle your long-term thinking." Rick Warren's movement emphasizes deeds, not creeds. He also tells us about his ideas of the judgment at the last day, saying, "God won't ask about your religious background or doctrinal views." But the Apostle Paul told Titus that a bishop of a church must be able by sound doctrine both to exhort and convict those who contradict. 2 Timothy 4:3 says, "For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears, they will heap up for themselves teachers."
So once you buy into this particular leadership model, Rick Warren, who then brings along with him Perry Noble, Stephen Furtick, Mark Batterson, Ed Young Jr., Erwin McManus, and others, these become the guys that you look to. And all of them are vehemently anti-doctrinal.
There's always some yahoo in the crowd who climbs up in this chair. And they don't get it. They climb up in this chair and they go, feed me! Wait, Pastor! Feed me! Over here! They sit here whine, oh, I want more! Deeper worship! I want more Bible study! Feed me!
You say, Perry, what about the jackass in the church? The jackass in the church is the person that always screams, I want to go deeper. You know what I tell people that say that around here? You're only as deep as the last person you served. You want to talk deep? Let's go check your tithing record and see how deep you are. Deep? Deep? Most Christians are, John Maxwell said it, most Christians are educated way beyond their level of obedience anyway. What you're really saying is you want me to stand on the stage and confuse the heck out of you so you don't have to apply what I teach on Sundays. I could do that.
I'm bound to make you mad. Did you show up to get mad this morning? Did you show up to file a little bit more religious information in your already overloaded hard drive so that you could do absolutely nothing about it? The church is full of pot-bellied Christians waiting to shove their spiritual food down their mouth one more time, but they don't intend to do anything to bless anybody. You are a Pharisee.
The Bible tells us that the law of Moses was made for anything that is contrary to sound doctrine, for the lawless, disobedient, ungodly, sinners, unholy, and profane. Thus, if the church growth movement is largely anti-doctrinal, the results are exceedingly sinful. When an internal survey of Willow Creek members revealed that large percentages of singles, 25% of singles, 38% of single parents, and 41% of divorced individuals admitted having illicit sexual relations in the last 6 months, Hybels failed to focus on the seriousness of sin. Hybels did not call the congregation to repent for their rebellion against a holy God. Instead, he emphasized God's compassionate love. We are a love-starved people with broken hearts that need the kind of repair that only He can give long-term. During an exchange between Robert Schuller and Dr. Michael Horton on the White Horse Inn radio program, Schuller spoke on the doctrines of sin and justification. We are not justified by faith. No, it is by grace through faith. By grace through faith, that's right. But what I'm asking is this, justified from what? The wrath of God? Oh, I'll never use that language. But the Bible does. Yes, the Bible does. But the Bible is God's book to believers primarily. Listen, and then call me a heretic if you want, but I'm interested in attracting people and not driving them farther away. Even preaching the simple gospel message of Christ crucified and all its implications has often been silenced from these churches because it is unattractive. In a similar way, the Apostle Peter rebuked the Lord when Jesus told him that he would be crucified. The cross was an offense to Peter. But Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men. Whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake in the Gospels will save it."
Well, these churches were Baptist, Christian Missionary Alliance, Assemblies of God, Evangelical Free. They were all evangelical churches that were based originally on the idea of preaching the gospel. Okay? And then Rick Warren's program comes in, and he's telling them, no, you got to change this whole thing. People don't like pews, people don't like crosses. You got to go out and find out what the average person in your neighborhood wants to do if they were going to come to church at all. And you got to design a church that appeals to the unsaved out here. He drove the gospel out of more churches than anybody you can imagine. I did talk to Rick Warren, and he would deny that's what he did, but he did it. I've talked to hundreds and hundreds of people that since I started writing on this topic, and they all said the same thing. Once Rick Warren's program came in, the gospel went out. Hymns about the blood and about the cross, they went out. Some cases, even the piano went out. I don't know that he set out to destroy the entire evangelical movement, but he did a pretty good job of doing it.